You can go ahead, Brenda. We're now live to YouTube.
Wonderful. Good evening, members of committee and members of the public. I will now call the Property Standards Committee to order. As this meeting is being held virtually, I will go over some of the rules of procedure for the benefit of members and the viewing public. All members remain muted when not speaking for the meeting to reduce feedback. All web cameras for committee members shall be turned on. Staff will be requested to join the video meeting should the need to answer questions arise. Any member of the committee should indicate they wish to speak by physically raising their hand. Movers and seconders of motions shall be indicated by physically raising their hand on camera, and the chair will call out who the mover and seconder are. All members of the committee participating via online video conference will vote by a physical show of hands. The chair will indicate to leave your hands raised until they have determined the result of the vote. In the event of a connection or service interruption that affects quorum of the committee, we may recess the meeting for up to 15 minutes to regain quorum. If quorum is not achieved, the meeting will be adjourned. Appellants, agents, owners, and delegations are participating via Zoom or telephone accordingly. All persons wishing to speak to the items on the agenda were required to register by 9 a.m. Any delegations received in written format have been provided to the members of the committee and will form part of the meeting record. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Susan Kaplan.
Present.
Tamara Capoli. And Brenda Hertog.
Present.
Great, you're good.
Members of the committee, do any of you have declarations of conflicts of pecuniary interest to make on any of the items before the committee this evening?
No.
Seeing none, there are no presentations or registered delegates for the meeting. This is a regular meeting of the Property Standards Committee. Members of the committee will hear property standards appeals, then must render decisions on the orders issued. The committee has the authority to confirm, rescind, extend, amend, and/or modify a property standards order. As the hearing is open to the public, please note that the names of persons participating in the hearing will be recorded in the minutes, which is a public record. Our first hearing is for Property Standards Order number 151-20 for 11 Ludlow Crescent, Brantford. It is my understanding that the items in the order have been addressed and remedied by the appellant. Would staff like to provide an update on this item?
Through the chair, good evening. Gary Anderson, Manager of Property Standards and Bylaws, City of Brantford. Just to update the committee relative to item number 1 on the agenda. Yes, Madam Chair, you're correct. Based on a re-inspection that was conducted today, we have confirmed that the property known municipally as 11 Ludlow Crescent is compliant now with the order, as the property has been demolished and the house is removed, and they've actually commenced proceedings to rebuild on that site. So we're more than happy with the compliance with the order prior to the hearing. So I'm making the recommendation that the committee confirm the order. However, I'm also making a recommendation that no further administrative fees be assessed based on this compliance. That's my position, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do members of the committee have any questions for staff at this point in time?
None.
Seeing none. As the appeal is no longer necessary, I will now entertain a motion to confirm the order. Susan Kaplan.
Yes. So that the appeal filed by Gabriel Drury, owner of 11 Ludlow Crescent, regarding Property Standards Order 151-20 be allowed and upheld by the Property Standards Committee and without administrative fees. Is that fully correct?
Through the chair, the order can just be confirmed and upheld through the member Kaplan. The committee has no authority on the fees. I'm just advising the committee that typically when an order is confirmed, we attach an additional fee for confirmation of that order. But I'm just advising the committee that internally, I will not be assessing the additional administrative fee just on the confirmation of the order.
Okay.
Okay, a motion has been made by Ms. Kaplan. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Tamara Capoli. Any discussion required on the motion? Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the vote.
Sorry, just seeking clarification. Typically upheld of the order would be putting it in place. Mr. Anderson, can you just confirm that it would be allowed and confirmed?
Through the chair to Ms. Sippel, yes, that the order be confirmed. Doesn't necessarily need to be upheld, but just be confirmed would be satisfactory at this time, yes.
Okay, great. So all those in favor, please raise your hand. So Susan Kaplan, Tamara Capoli, and Brenda Hertog, the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Our next hearing is for Property Standards Order number 03-21 for 34 Murray Street, Brantford. I will now call upon staff to provide us with details of the report on this matter.
Before the officer comes on, I'd just like to briefly state for the committee's reference moving forward with the orders that, and Officer Erskine will speak to it briefly shortly, the actual facts of this particular case, but I just wanted to go on the record to advise those that are watching that the property standards bylaw is enforced reactively to complaints that are received by our office, and we have a standard procedure wherein we notify an owner once we've done an inspection and confirmed the violation. Initially, it's by a letter. If it's a repeat occurrence, we'll go directly to an order as per the Building Code Act, Ontario Building Code Act. And once that order is issued, it is subject to appeal, which an owner can do, file a notice of appeal within the prescribed time period to be present before the committee. So just as a reference for those that are watching, that's the operating practice we do here for the enforcement of the property standards bylaw in the City of Brantford. So now I'll turn it over to Officer Erskine, who can speak specifically, Madam Chair, to the matter that's next on your agenda. Officer Erskine, please.
Through the chair, good evening. Thank you. In this particular case, a complaint was received on November 25th, 2020, regarding a damaged and decayed tree at the property known municipally as 34 Murray Street, Brantford, Ontario. A preliminary inspection conducted the following day on November 26, 2020, to the subject property revealed multiple trees on the property, including large mature trees located in the rear yard, directly adjacent to 6 properties. These large trees have multiple dead, decayed, and damaged branches. I investigated at length and spoke at length on the property with the owner, Lona Johnson. The complaint arose from a November 15th windstorm that had one of her damaged trees fail and land on her neighbor's shed. As is the standard practice, preliminary letter dated December 8th, 2020 was sent to the property owner detailing the requirements to clear all dead and decayed trees and limbs thereof. Significant ongoing communication was made with the owner to advise of the need to comply to remove any further risk to injure to persons or property. A reinspection conducted on January 12th, 2021 showed no change in the condition of the trees or appearance of the property. Several attempts to further communicate with this owner were not productive. It was the decision by the Bylaw Enforcement Division of the Building Department to move forward with the issuance of the applicable property standards order. A request was then made to the city's legal and real estate department to conduct a title search to confirm property ownership. Information was returned on January 13th, 2021, which showed the subject property of 34 Murray Street, Brantford, Ontario, to be owned by Lona Johnson of the subject property. Accordingly, Property Standards Order 03-21 was issued to the registered owner detailing the sole requirement to trim or remove all dead or decayed tree branches or limbs to remove the unsafe condition they create. A notice of appeal was received by the Bylaw Division of the Building Department on January 20th, 2021, prior to the deadline of February 10th, 2021, requesting additional time to comply. The property remains in non-compliance to the issued Property Standards Order and to the city's Property Standards Bylaw. Significant accumulations of brush and branches were also confirmed, resulting in a further order being issued under the city's lot maintenance and waste bylaw, which complied with on March 15th, 2021. That concludes the investigation.
Thank you. Do members of the committee have any questions for staff at this time?
None.
Seeing none, I will now call upon the appellant to address the committee. Ms. Johnson, are you there?
It appears, Ms. Johnson, that you have just muted yourself. If you can just press *6 on your phone again. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, Ms.
Okay.
Johnson.
Yes,
Hi, good evening. Could you please, first of all, provide the committee with your full name and address, please?
Lona Laverne Johnson, 34 Murray Street, Brantford.
And what is it that you are seeking from the committee this evening?
Well, they want me to trim that walnut tree, and I had an arborist look at it, and he said there's 2 branches that are on my property that need to be trimmed. But that's all that needs.
Okay, so
I haven't got it done yet because the cost. Like, I'm trying to find somebody to do it, and it's just been. I've had a cost as high as $2,500 to do it. They have to go up it by rope. It's such a tall tree. To
okay.
access it.
So are you looking for additional time to have this completed?
Yes, I am.
And how much time would you be asking the committee for?
Well, I'd like to wait until the tree blossoms, really see if it is dead. The limb is dead.
So you aren't able to provide any kind of a timeline at all at this point?
Well, the trees I'm not sure when the trees blossom. Or June sometime. I'm really not sure.
Okay. Well, do members of the committee have any questions for the appellant? Tamara Capoli?
Ms. Johnson, do you live at the property?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And how many quotes have you received so far?
I've had several. Probably at least 5 or more.
Okay. Has anybody given you a timeline on when they can do the work?
They'll give me a quote, and then when I try to call them back, they won't return a call. So I haven't got anybody right now. Okay. Can't get a hold of anyone to do it. Very frustrating.
I understand.
Are there any further questions for Ms. Johnson? Is there any update from staff at all?
Not at this time. I was last on the property, or through the chair, I was last on the property on Monday, March 15th. No change.
Okay. Tamara Capoli?
Could I ask Officer Erskine a question?
Certainly.
Are any of the branches overhanging a house or a deck, or I see it's a big tree in the backyard and it's already demolished a shed.
Yeah, there's multiple trees, large mature trees, and they're definitely overhanging on other properties, including fences. I believe there's a shed at the rear at one of the properties on South Street that is overhanging, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I don't believe that's my tree. My neighbor's tree. Manitoba maples, not the walnut.
Are there any further
Walnut
questions?
tree, there's no branches hanging on anybody else's property except my own, the one that's damaged. Names is damaged.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Okay.
Through the chair, could I just like to make a comment from management, please?
Certainly.
Through the chair, in addition to Officer Erskine's comments, I just want the committee to be aware of that this has already been ongoing for several months, being from the middle of November to now. The owner is indicating some phone calls made to have it done. And I know the committee is aware of this discussion before, but the city has some risk now, in that we're aware that the situation is ongoing and there is potential for more property damage. Heaven forbid it be human damage, but it's property damage. So we require this. We require this compliance to move along relatively quickly, and I would not be averse to a 30-day extension to have this done. But to be honest, it's already been ongoing for quite some time. And when I speak to the arborists and our horticulturists in the city's parks department, they do advise me that it's actually easier and better to do this work in the non-growth season. Example now, it's better for the tree, absolutely, for the sort of pruning to be done before they're maturing and growing. So the recommendation from those experts is that this work should be done now, prior to the bloom season that the appellant has referenced. So it will be our position that this move forward in a timely manner. That's the position from staff, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I will now entertain a motion from the committee on how they wish to deal with this appeal. Tamara Capoli.
I recommend the appeal filed by Lona Johnson, owner of 34 Maury Street in Brantford, regarding property standards order 03-21, be allowed that the order be confirmed and upheld by this committee, but the following extension of time be granted to address all outstanding deficiencies contained in the property standards order. And I recommend April 30th be the deadline to grant the extension.
Thank you. Okay, a motion has been made by Tamara Capoli. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Susan Kaplan. Is there any discussion required on the motion?
None.
Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the vote.
All those in favor, please raise your hand and leave it raised until you hear your name called. Susan Kaplan, Brenda Hertog, Tamara Capoli. The motion carries unanimously.
Ms. Johnson, the committee's decision has been made on your appeal. You will receive official notification of our decision from the building department. And if you wish to appeal our decision to the Superior Court, instructions will be sent with the notification that you receive from the building department. As the committee did not quash the order, there is an additional administrative fee of $125 assessed to you. Thank you and have a good evening. Our next hearing is for property standards order number 06-21 for 94.5 Arthur Street, Brantford. And I will call upon staff to provide us with details of the report on this matter.
Through the chair. In this particular case, a complaint was received on January 11th, 2021 regarding the exterior appearance of the property at 94.5 Arthur Street in Brantford. A preliminary inspection conducted on January 13th, 2021 by myself, Officer Patrick Erskine, revealed several violations of the property standards bylaw to exist, which include defective stairs to the rear of the building, unsafe egress to the rear stairs, and a deteriorated fence on the property. Contact was made by the owner, who was advised of the issues confirmed on inspection, and that a letter was being sent detailing these for her reference and action. As is standard practice, a preliminary letter dated January 18th, 2021 was sent to the owners detailing all of these violations and the requirements to repair as per the city's property standards bylaw. A reinspection conducted on February 3rd, 2021 had shown all violations to remain. Contact was then attempted to be made with the owner, who had no further connection to accept telephone messages. It was the decision of the bylaw division of the building department to move forward with the issuance of the applicable property standards order. A request was then made to the city's legal and real estate department to conduct a title search to confirm ownership. This information was returned on February 9th, 2021 that showed that the subject property, known municipally as 94.5 Arthur Street, Brantford, Ontario, to be owned by Teresa Marciello of Brantford, Ontario. Accordingly, property standards order 06-21 was issued February 17, 2021 to the registered owner detailing the above noted violations requiring repair. Subsequent emails were received from the owner, who was advised to appeal the order to request additional time for the committee. A notice of appeal was received by the Bylaw Enforcement Division of the Building Department from the registered owner on March 4, 2021, prior to the deadline date of March 8, 2021, as stated on the order. The property remains in violation of both the issued property standards order and the city's property standards bylaw.
Thank you. Do members of the committee have any questions for staff at this time? Seeing no questions, I will now call upon the appellant to address the committee. Could you please, first of all, provide the committee with your name and address? Hello?
Hear me?
I can hear you now. Could you please provide us with your full name and address, please?
Teresa Marcilio. I live at 15 Kings Hill Lane.
And what is it that you are asking the committee for this evening?
I'm asking for an extension because there is a lot of work to be done. It can't be done in the winter, and that's about it.
And how long of an extension are you looking for?
I would really love a really long one, to be honest. I would love, the shortest one I would like is July. But if it can even be longer till September, because I work and we get July and August off. And so I could do a lot of work till September, but otherwise, July, I would love July. 1st of July or end of July.
Okay.
To be done. A lot of people to come and see and give them different prices. It's not a small job. These are big jobs, like knocking all that out, getting rid of all the concrete, or designing a whole new, what do you call it, fire extension and everything. I'm quite willing to do everything, but definitely not in the time that they were giving me. I couldn't believe it.
Okay, I understand. Are there any questions from the committee for the appellant at this time?
None.
Tamara Capoli?
So, Ms. Marcilio, how long have you owned the property?
All my life. I lived there all my life. My mother passed away in 2011. And I've been looking after it since. And the tenant was in that side for 10 years, and he just moved out. And I believe he set the order, sort of on this, like, anyway, for 10 years he was there. So of course I'm in there doing stuff. Of course, he just moved out end of November, so that's why I'm in there doing things. But yes, I can get everything done. But any other questions?
Are there any other questions for the appellant? Is there any follow-up from staff at all?
Through the chair, I was last there on March 15. There's been no change since then.
Okay, thank you. I will now entertain a motion from the committee on how they wish to deal with this appeal. Susan Kaplan?
That the appeal filed by Teresa Marcilio, owner of 94.5 Arthur Street, Brantford, regarding property standards order 06-21 be allowed, and that the order be confirmed and upheld by the Property Standards Committee, and that the following extension be granted to address outstanding deficiencies contained within the property standard order of July the 30th.
Okay, a motion has been made by Susan Kaplan, do we have a seconder? Seconded by Tamara Capoli. Are there any, is there any discussion required on the motion, Ms. Capoli?
Sorry, maybe this question should be directed to staff. Is there anything there that creates a hazard right now, or that should be done immediately so that it's not a real danger? I'm just wondering about July. You've got staircases that are falling apart and railings. It doesn't seem structurally sound to me. Is there something that can be done in a shorter time frame to mediate that?
Through the chair. Yeah, it is an issue. It's a staircase and it's unstructurally sound. I saw those photos. Large chunks were missing. It does pose a hazard. As far as remedial action in the interim, I suggested as well. As far as with the action to take, I don't know at this time. I would pass it off to a qualified professional contractor as far as the actions they could take in that particular situation, as this is unique.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I do have a concern about the July. That's all. Can we shorten that? Could I modify our dates on that, Susan? Would you be okay with that?
Yes. We can also allow for the date and allow for a separate date for the stairs.
Okay.
Through the chair, that's what I was going to suggest to the committee, that they certainly have the opportunity to have different deadline dates for different provisions on the order. And I'll certainly concur with Officer Erskine's comments that there is a life safety situation with that stair that requires a little more immediate attention than July.
Okay, Ms. Kaplan, do you wish to amend the motion then?
Yes. Just one moment. I need to find the reference.
There's a list, yeah.
That the extension of the time be granted to address all outstanding deficiencies contained within the property standard order to July 30th, and that an extension be granted to address the stair. I don't have the reference number, I'm sorry, in the order.
I have 1 and 2. 1 is the stairs at the rear of the building.
Right.
2 is the egress. The fence, I believe, yeah, could wait until July.
Item 1.
1 and 2.
And 2 be granted to April 30th.
Yes.
Okay.
So the motion is for items 1 and 2, the extension to April 30th. Item
right.
3, the fence to July 30th, 2021.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And again, do we have a seconder? Tamara Capoli.
Hello?
I will ask the clerk to call the vote.
All those in favor, please raise your hand and leave it raised until your name is called. Susan Kaplan, Brenda Hertog, Tamara Capoli. Thank you. The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. The committee's decision, Mrs. Marsilio, has been made on your appeal, and you will receive official notification in writing from the building department. If you wish to appeal the decision to the Superior Court, instructions will be sent with the notification you receive from the building department. And as the committee did not quash the order, there is an additional administrative fee of $125, which will be assessed to you. Thank you and good evening. Our next hearing is for Property Standards Order number 149-20 for 321-323 Colburn Street, Brantford. And I will call upon staff to provide us with details of the report on this matter.
Through the chair, in this particular case, a complaint was received on November 10th, 2020, regarding a defective rear yard structure at the property known municipally as 321-323 Colburn Street, Brantford, Ontario. A preliminary inspection was conducted on November 19th, 2020 by myself, Municipal Law Enforcement Officer, Property Standards Officer Patrick Erskine. I was accompanied by a city building inspector and the identified brother of the owner. The rear yard building is a 2-story house/shed that was quite apparently structurally unsound. The second level has begun to collapse into the property as well as into the neighboring parking lot. This building is not structurally sound and there is doubt to the structural integrity of the building. A professional engineer report would also be required. On November 23rd, 2020, myself, Officer Erskine, spoke with the owner, who advised that he had plans to demolish the structure or sell the property. It was the decision of the Bylaw Enforcement Division of the Building Department to proceed directly to the issuance of the applicable order. A request was then made to the city's legal and real estate department to conduct a title search to confirm property ownership. This information was returned on December 17th, 2021, that showed the subject property at 321-323 Colburn Street, Brantford, Ontario, to be owned by 2678796 Ontario Inc. of Brampton, Ontario. A corporate search revealed Rupinder Buhler to be the sole director. Accordingly, Property Standards Order number 149-20 was issued on January 6, 2021 to the registered corporate owners, detailing the requirement to either repair the structure under supervision of a professional engineer or demolish under permit. A notice of appeal was received by the Bylaw Enforcement Division of the Building Department on January 21st, 2021, prior to the deadline date of February 2nd, 2021, requesting an extension of time. The property remains in non-compliance to the issued property standards order and the city's property standards bylaw. An incomplete demolition application has subsequently been received by the Building Department. As of March 15, 2021, no change in the property.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff at this time? Seeing none, I will now call upon the appellant to address the committee. Mr. Buhler, could you please provide the committee with your full name and address, please? Hello.
Hi, my name is Rupinder Buhler. I'm owner of 2678796 Ontario Inc.
And what is it that you're asking the committee for this evening, sir?
Because I apply for permit already, I fulfill all the condition. I apply to everyone utility, water, and hydro and gas. They all came, they checked, and now I'm waiting for a permit. So I like to get some extension to get more time due to COVID-19. So even the contractor all are busy. They don't have a time to come look at. So I request for some more time till you can say end of May, so we can get a permit and demolish the building.
Okay. Do any members of the committee have any questions for the appellant at this time? Tamara Capoli?
Mr. Buhler, so the demolition permit has been received at City Hall?
No, not yet.
Okay, so
I applied for already.
So what part of the process are you at in that? Or have you submitted?
I'm just waiting for a permit now. I fulfill all the requests they ask me. So I call every department, the gas, water, and the hydro, and Roger. Everybody came. They look at, and they sign the application. So now it's under process for I think last stage for a permit.
Oh, okay, so it is not at City Hall yet.
It's in the City Hall. I put everything back to City Hall. So
okay.
They have, yeah.
Any further questions for the appellant, Susan Kaplan?
Yes, through Madam Chair. Mr. Buhler, can you please clarify for me, have you made the application for the demolition permit?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions for the appellant? Is there any follow-up from staff at all?
Yeah, through the chair. Just to clarify the process right now where the application is. It was received, however, it's incomplete. So we have an incomplete application that we can't process. The last notes was on February 9th of 2021. Senior Plans Examiner Shelley Kunkel sent an email to Mr. Buhler detailing missing information. That was the last entry in the process. So we have an incomplete application. And we reached out to him. The city has Mrs. Kunkel on February 9th, 2021. So we're just waiting for some information before we can complete that application.
Thank you. Any further questions from the committee at this time? I will now entertain a motion from the committee on how they wish to deal with this appeal. Mary Capoli.
I'm just looking at dates here.
Sure.
Okay, he did request end of May, so knowing that the ball is rolling, that the appeal filed by Rupinder Buhler, owner of 321 and 323 Colburn Street, Brantford, and that order be allowed and confirmed and upheld by the Property Standards Committee, and that the following time extension be granted to address the outstanding deficiencies. And I'm going to say May 28th. 2021.
Okay, a motion has been made by Tamara Capoli. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Susan Kaplan. Is there any discussion required on the motion? Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the vote.
All those in favor of the motion before you, please raise your hand and leave it raised until your name is called. Susan Kaplan, Brenda Hertog, Tamara Capoli. The motion is approved unanimously.
Mr. Buhler, the committee's decision has been made on your appeal, and you will receive official notification of our decision from the building department. If you wish to appeal the decision to the Superior Court, instructions will be sent with the notification you receive from the building department. As the committee did not quash the order, there is an additional administrative fee of $125, which will be assessed to you. Thank you, sir. Good evening. May I now have a mover and a seconder for the minutes of our previous meeting? Moved by Tamara Capoli, seconded.
I cannot.
You can actually second it, Ms. Kaplan.
Okay.
You just can't move it. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, seconded by Susan Kaplan. Are there any errors or omissions to be noted? I will ask the clerk to call the vote.
All those in favor, please raise your hand and leave it raised until you hear your name called. Susan Kaplan, Brenda Hertog, Tamara Capoli. Thank you. The minutes carry.
Okay, there are no resolutions and there are no notices of motion. Mr. Anderson, are there any updates for the committee this evening?
Through the chair, thank you. No update specifically about files. What I wanted to let the committee know is since last we met, the bylaw enforcement officers have remained busy with COVID-19 order enforcement regulations. So we've been spending a lot of time with that, but we're getting back into the business of actually looking into regular files, and Officer Erskine is one of those officers that's been charged with moving forward with those, as well as the other officers that we have. I wanted to let the committee be aware that we have currently 6 full-time municipal law enforcement property standards officers. There were recently a couple of appointments of officers who were previous in a different capacity. One, Jess Curley, was our animal control bylaw officer. She's been promoted to full-time municipal law enforcement property standards officer, as well as Mr. Philip Telfer, who was one of my COVID officers through contract. And I just wanted the committee aware that we are, through council approval, have approved for the hiring of a 7th full-time officer who will be here relatively shortly. So our staff complement is rounding out. I also have one contract COVID officer, Ms. Neely Birch, who's handling the COVID enforcement matters for me right now very well. A couple of things I wanted to let the committee aware of is the Building Code Act has been changed in a couple of points, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, so if I have, I apologize. One of the changes under Section 27 is for email service. As the committee may be aware, all our orders are sent by a registered mail and regular mail, but the Building Code Act was amended to allow email service as an approved level of service. So our officers often will inquire with people they're dealing with for email information that we can send documentation, be it the letter or the order, also served via email. So it's just an FYI for the committee on that from an operational perspective. Secondly, the Building Code Act was amended to allow AMPS, which is an administrative monetary penalty system for the mediation of property standards order matters. So typically, this is a mediation process that's dealt with for parking enforcement, but the Building Code Act was amended to now allow this different level of mediation for property standards bylaw enforcement that may be able to be done prior to the issuance of an order. So it's an additional mediation process that's now available to the public should they choose to do that. So I would be remiss. So I've introduced you to some new officers that we have, and hopefully in the coming days or coming months rather, you'll be able to meet some of them before you for orders that they've been involved with inspecting and issuing. But I'd also like to just sort of turn the screen over a little bit. Not sure if I can go that far, but I've also asked my bylaw enforcement assistant, my new bylaw enforcement assistant, to come in. I'm just trying to do it so that we're 6 feet apart. So there she is in the bottom. Kim Stoffelson is my new administrative assistant. For those of you who knew Grace Wilson before, Grace retired late last year, so she's moved on with retirement. So Kim was a successful applicant, and she's been with us since I think the 1st of November, end of November. So Kim will also is instrumental in assisting the officers with their administrative duties. And further the point that the decisions that you've made this evening, those communications that Kim will prepare will go out to those appellants, advising them of their next steps. So I just wanted to introduce Kim. She stayed after work tonight to view this hearing, just to see how this process works internally for us here.
Welcome, Kim.
Yeah, she's awesome, by the way. As is my whole team. So I think you've met Officer Erskine tonight. Obviously, you had the 3 matters that were before you, but the other officers that have been before you, as you know, are awesome staff, are very well organized and very competent in their duties. And the new staff, who I've briefly introduced, will certainly learn from them and move forward in the progress of their careers. So those are just a few of the things that I wanted to mention to you this evening. That's it from my end.
Okay.
Thank you.
Julia Sipple has an update from the clerk's department, I understand.
Yes, thank you. So I just wanted to let the committee know that I am no longer going to be clerking this committee, and it's going to be handed over to Melanie Figueredo, who started with us full time at, I believe it was the end of last year, October or November. She was here assisting us throughout COVID and has taken a full-time position with us, I'm happy to say, and she will be taking the reins on clerking this committee. So she did all the back end stuff, and you would have seen the emails coming from her today. And moving forward, she will be the one who will be assisting you. And she was supposed to turn her camera on, but I don't know if she did. This is Melanie. And that's it from the clerk's office.
Okay.
Maybe I could just add one other item, Madam Chair, and Clerk is, I was gonna avoid doing this, but
I wasn't gonna let you get away with it though.
Yeah, thanks. So I just thought I'd let the committee know that I've also decided to move on to retirement. And this will likely be the last hearing that I'll have with you committee members. And I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you for your volunteerism for this committee. And it's been a real wonderful experience to work with you through this adjudicated process. And it's been an honor, privilege to work for the City of Brantford and to work with you fine folks as well too. So wish you all the best moving forward. And we're in the process of reviewing applications. We've done the first set of interviews for my successor and hoping to finish those off next week. So by the time you have your next hearing date, I imagine it'll be a new body sitting here rather than myself. So with that, I'll bond you a fair adieu, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, Gary, congratulations on your retirement. And I have to say, as you know, I've been on this committee for a number of years now. I've learned a lot from you, and I appreciate everything that you've done. Yourself, Russ Thompson, Virginia Kershaw, I mean, the three of you have guided me and taught. I knew nothing about property standards, and some would say I still don't, but I believe I have learned a lot, and that's because of you. I appreciate everything that you've done and your years of service, which are extensive, I know. So thank you, and I wish you all the very best in your retirement.
Thank you very much, Brenda. I appreciate that. And you're right, we've had a long ride for sure.
We have.
It's been fun, and it's been challenging, and it's been a learning experience for me. And I often say that when I do this, if I'm not learning something, there's something wrong with me as well too. So I've learned from you folks as well too, which has been invaluable to say the least. So thank you for that, and cheers to all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
I'm assuming I'll see you on the golf course more.
Oh, yeah.
You can count on that. Yeah.
Gary, congratulations. Thank you for everything and how you have helped me. So I wish you and your lovely wife from Manitoba a fabulous retirement.
Right. Thank you very much, Susan. That's awesome. And I know you'll be left in good hands. I'm fully confident Kim is really stepping up and doing a great job. The officers that you've seen are awesome. So you'll be in great hands from the internal staff here. So, and yes, Tamara, you'll see me on the golf course, but probably not in a fairway. But I will be in the golf course for sure. Thank you. I look forward to
We'll let her play through when you're so slow, okay?
Yeah.
Exactly. Definitely
All the
in
best,
a cart.
Gary.
Definitely in a cart. I won't be walking for sure. So. Thanks very much. That's awesome. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gary. Okay, currently, I guess we don't have any appeals, so the next meeting will remain at the call of the chair. And having concluded the business of the committee, the meeting is hereby adjourned.
Thank you.